The Great Crayon Caper, Nia, Jia, and the Secret Code. The attic in Nia's house was a kingdom of forgotten things, and today, she and her best friend Jia were its reigning explorers. Dust motes danced in the slants of sunlight as Jia pushed a cardboard box labeled "Kid Stuff" with her foot. "Treasure or total trash?" Jia asked, her voice full of hopeful skepticism. "Only one way to find out," Nia chirped, slicing the tape with a dramatic flourish. Inside, nestled atop yellowed baby clothes, was a box of crayons, but not just any crayons. This box was ancient, the cardboard soft at the corners. The word "Spectrum" was faded on the lid. "Ooh, vintage," Jia said, popping the lid open. The smell of wax and nostalgia filled the air. But something was odd. The crayons weren't in a neat rainbow order. They were jumbled, and several were worn down to tiny nubs, as if they'd been used for a gigantic colouring project. As Nia lifted the tray, a small folded piece of paper fluttered out. Jia snatched it from the air with the reflexes of a ninja catching a fly. "Whoa, what's this?" They unfolded it together. It was a drawing, clearly made by a child. It showed a wobbly sun in the corner, a stick figure girl with crazy hair next to a large, lumpy tree, and a bright red arrow pointing down at the tree's roots. "For the curious heart," Nia read aloud the messy cursive scrawled at the top. It's signed, "The Keeper." Jia's eyes widened. "The Keeper? That sounds super mysterious, but it's just a kid's drawing." Maybe not. Nia's brain, which was excellent at spotting patterns, was whirring. She pointed at the sun. "This yellow is way brighter than it needs to be. And look at the tree trunk. It's not just brown, it's got streaks of green and blue in it. That can't be an accident." Jia gasped. A secret code, a crayon code. The quest was on. Their first clue was the sun. The yellow was indeed specific. Dandelion yellow. Nia scrambled for the box and found the crayon. Wrapped around its paper label was a tiny, almost invisible string. Jia carefully unwound it. Tied to the end was a minuscule piece of paper rolled into a tube. She unrolled it. "The first step is not high, but it requires a keen eye," she read. "The drawing! Look at the drawing again," Nia urged. They pored over the page. The stick figure girl had a very keen, large eye drawn with a black crayon, and her hand was pointing not at the tree, but at a peculiar flower near her feet, coloured with a specific orchid purple. "The flower! It's the next clue!" Nia yelled. This went on in a whirlwind of excitement. The orchid purple crayon had its label slightly peeled back. Underneath, written in tiny letters, was the word "bookshelf." They raced to the bookshelf in Nia's room. The next clue was tucked inside their favourite book, The Enchanted Forest, a story they always read together. It was a riddle written on a bookmark. "I have a ring, but no finger. I have a bark, but I don't bite. Find me where the stories linger." "The tree!" they shouted in unison, remembering the lumpy tree from the original drawing. They thundered back down to the attic, their hearts pounding a rhythm of pure adventure. The old oak tree in Nia's backyard was their next destination. They scrambled to its roots, digging with their hands like excited puppies. Their fingers soon brushed against something smooth and metal. They pulled out a small, rusty tin box. With bated breath, Nia pried it open. Inside wasn't gold or jewels. It was another piece of paper. This one had a simple, beautiful drawing of a key, coloured with a silver crayon that had long since been used up in the original box. Below it was a final message. "The greatest treasure is not what you find, but the adventure you share. The real key was your curiosity. Now, go to the place where you first decided to seek. Nia and Jia looked at each other, their faces smudged with dirt and lit with identical grins. They knew exactly where that was. They ran back to the attic and stood before the open kid stuff box. And there, taped to the inside of the lid where they hadn't thought to look before, was it? The treasure. It was a brand new giant box of 64 crayons with the sharpener built right in. Tied to it with a ribbon was a note from Nia's grandma. For my darling Nia and her friend Jia. I left this trail for you, just as my grandfather left it for me. The world is full of colour and mystery for those who look closely. Now go create your own adventure. Love, the Keeper. Nia and Jia hugged, laughing. It was the best treasure imaginable. They spent the rest of the afternoon on the floor, not just colouring, but designing an elaborate, coded map for Nia's little brother to find, their laughter echoing through the house, the sound of a secret successfully decoded and a new one just beginning. Love a good mystery? Grab a box of crayons and see what secrets you can create. Share your own coded drawings with us in the comments below.